welcome everyone to a new edition of AHSAA TV Weekly. I'm your host, Susan Carruthers, and let's look ahead to what we've got on the show this week. We'll meet AHSAA's Assistant Director of Cross Country, Marvin Cho, to discuss the upcoming section and state cross country championships. We'll also get to know Faith Academy head football coach Jack French, who joined an elite group of high school football coaches within AHSAA by recently recording the 300th victory of his coaching career. And we'll catch up with Lynette High School volleyball coach Christina Story, who's guided the Lady Panthers to the Class 2A Super Regional Tournament in Montgomery this week. And as temperatures drop around the state, our weekly highlights just keep heating up. We'll close this week's show like we always do with video highlights from last week's high school and football volleyball action in what we call Holtzford's Highlights. We'll be right back in just a moment.
Retirement planning, investment planning, education planning, ad valorem, blah, 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 blah. Financial planners love to show their version of a perfect retirement, but what about your perfect retirement? At AmFirst Financial, we'll get to know you first, so we can make a plan for the person you'll be years from now, and future you will be glad we planned ahead. So call AmFirst Financial today. You'll thank you later.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Alabama, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Welcome to the program today, AHSAA Assistant Director and Director of Cross Country, Marvin Cho. Welcome, Marvin.
Thank you, Susan. Glad to be on.
Well, we love that we are getting to know some of the staff there at the association a little bit every week. So tell us a little bit about your duties there at AHSAA and what sports fall under you.
So I'm going on year 9 at the association. I came from Huntsville, Alabama. But I oversee my main program is I oversee the Dragonfly program in our office, which deals with eligibility, things like that. But I also oversee the sports of cross country, swimming, golf, and soccer.
Wow, you've got a lot on your plate. But the most immediate things that are coming up, from what I understand, are the cross country section and state meets. And then we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in swimming too. But first of all, tell us about those meets that are coming up.
So all the sectional cross-country meets are next week. We're excited. We've had a great season so far. I had a lot of fast times on our boys and girls sides. A lot of great meets throughout the regular season. The sectionals will be all across the state. We have some down in Baldwin County all the way up to North Alabama, up in Madison. So just excited to see the times and see the kids getting ready for our state championships in Moulton. We just want to thank Stanley Johnson and Lawrence County High School, as well as the city of Moulton, for doing such a great job with our state championships in cross country. They've really that community just loves the event. They really take pride in it. They take pride in the course, and the kids just love the history of the course. And hopefully we'll have some great weather and some great times.
Well, we've talked several times on the show that cross country is one of the fastest growing sports in the state. Apparently swimming is as well, and that's another sport that you oversee. So tell us a little bit about what's going on in swimming and maybe some of the success stories that are coming out of that sport.
So some of the great things about swimming. So when I came, we just had a state championship. It was in Tuscaloosa. Now our state championship is in Auburn at the Auburn University pool. It's a great venue, but we do have 3 great sectional meets to qualify for the state championships, one in Huntsville, one in Birmingham, and one in Mobile. And we've just seen the sport grow so much. The times have gotten much faster. We see a lot of kids now going on to the collegiate level to swim. We actually had 2 former AHSAA swimmers swim in the Olympics this past summer. So we can see that the sport is growing. The kids are getting faster. Zach Harding from Bob Jones and Paige Madden from UMS Wright, they really just represented our state so well and our country. But just excited to see local kids get an opportunity to compete at that high level.
Well, it's wonderful to hear about some of these sports that are growing and just more and more students can be involved. We talk a lot on this show about how people can watch and support, football and volleyball. How can people watch cross country and swimming? Do they need to go to these meets? Are they available online anywhere? How can they get involved?
So cross country is a difficult one, as you can imagine, being all over. So we actually the network did try to film that, and it was just so difficult. So cross country is just one of those where you just have to be there. Again, the venue's so great. It's great. It's a great fan friendly venue up in Moulton, and we just have hundreds and hundreds of fans coming every year. I think each year we've broken our ticket sales. Because the fans just love to watch those kids run, and the kids just love having those fans cheer them on. But fortunately for swimming at our state championships, the NFHS network does cover the state championships in Auburn, so you can watch all of the finals on Saturday on the 5th of December on the network. So excited to be able to broadcast that on the network.
Well, Marvin, we thank you so much for being with us here today. We hope to have you again on the show soon. But mainly we're excited about watching these athletes compete in the upcoming cross country and swimming events. So thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me, and we're just again excited to see these kids compete. So looking forward to it.
All right, thanks. And we will be right back after this on AHSAA TV Weekly.
Retirement planning, investment planning, education planning, ad valorem, blah, 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 blah. Financial planners love to show their version of a perfect retirement, but what about your perfect retirement? At AmFirst Financial, we'll get to know you first, so we can make a plan for the person you'll be years from now, and future you will be glad we planned ahead. So call AmFirst Financial today. You'll thank you later.
Welcome to the program now, Faith Academy head football coach Jack French. Welcome, Jack.
Thank you.
We are so proud to have you on today. You have recently reached a huge milestone in your coaching career, your 300th win. Tell us how it feels.
Well, I don't know. It's kind of a unique feeling. I really don't know how to take it, because I think really all I've done, is God's blessed me with enough years to finagle some wins, and I know it was him and a whole lot of good players and a whole lot of good coaches, and really I'm just grateful for the opportunity to be with all of them.
Well, and tell me, how many years have you been coaching football?
45.
That is incredible. And let's talk about this year. So your team's having a great year. They're in Class 5A Region 1. You're 7-1 overall and 5-1 in region play. It looks like you've clinched a spot in the playoffs. So tell me a little bit about this team and how you see the rest of the season going.
Well, of course, we get to play the number 1 team this week at UMS, and that's a big deal around here, and we're trying to get ready for that. Then we'll have one more region game. We'll play LaFleur back here, and that'll be our homecoming. And we got to kind of spread things out this year. We had senior night, the first, wound up because of the condition of the field, wound up being the second game. And they're having homecoming the 10th game, and then playoffs.
Well, and like we just talked about, your 300th win, that puts you in a very elite crowd here among Alabama coaches. But actually, this Friday night when you play UMS, Coach Terry Curtis will be opposite the field from you, and he is actually in that elite group as well. So how exciting. Does it get any bigger than a game like this?
It really doesn't. I mean, they've had a good football program for a very long time, and we've had one for really a long time. But in this league, though, we've only been around just you'd say less than 2 decades. So anyway, we hope we're getting our feet on the ground now.
Well, that's great. And you said 45 years in coaching. What an outstanding legacy and career. Tell us really how you got into coaching, maybe what inspires you every day to go and be a coach and be a teacher.
Uh, I guess I would call it hunger rather than inspiration. I mean, I needed a job pretty bad. I played ball in high school and loved it, and I'd already had a lot of years working on fields, so that part came naturally to me. Um, but when I came out of school, a prediction my coach made came true. I told him that I was switching over to teaching and I was going to be a social studies teacher. And he said, "Well, you're going to have to coach." And I'd never really wanted to coach. I always thought that they were kind of, one thing, they were underpaid and they were over criticized and all those. I didn't really think that was for me. And but anyway, that was true. I spent a whole semester looking for a job and working on my master's at the same time. And finally, in past the middle of the summer, I got a job as the first ever, and it turned out to be the only ever full-time coach at DeSoto County Academy. And our address was Olive Branch, Mississippi. We're about 7 miles out of town. And really on a poorly, too much traveled highway at that time. Nowadays, it's a 6-lane or maybe 8-lane thoroughfare, but the building's still there. The school's gone, but Mr. Johnny Walker, believe it or not, great Christian man. I think he got moved by the Holy Spirit and somehow or another offered me a job, and I was pretty quick to take it.
Well, that is great. It seems like all things work together for good, and we congratulate you on your 300th win, and we wish you luck this Friday night as you hope to continue that win streak. Thanks for being with us, Coach French.
Thank you, Susan.
We are so excited to welcome to the program today Lynette High School volleyball coach Christina Story. Welcome, Christina.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Well, you've got a big week coming up. I hear that you are taking your team to Montgomery to play in the Super Regional Tournament for Class 2A in Montgomery on Thursday. So tell us a little bit about the build up to that tournament and how you think your team might do.
It's been a pretty exciting and eventful season for us. We lost our JV head coach who also served as my head coach. We lost her in July 26th. So it's been a pretty eventful and trying season, but the girls worked hard. They kept at it and practiced hard. They came to practice and showed up and did what we expected of them. So we've had a pretty good season.
Well, I understand that you've got a coaching background, and then your husband is also, he's the football coach there at Lynette and the athletic director. Tell us a little bit about your path and just what led you to coaching and sort of what's been your path in coaching?
It's somewhat of a funny story. So my husband serves as the athletic director as well as the head football coach. And it was my second year teaching. I was a social worker before in my prior life. And so he needed a volleyball coach. And so I always say I was voluntold that I had to be the new, that I would be the next volleyball coach. So I had no experience in volleyball. I actually played basketball in high school and I played basketball in college at Auburn, Montgomery. So I have no volleyball background. And volleyball is a pretty tough sport to learn. So it's been exciting to learn volleyball and to grow. But just because my husband was the athletic director, I was kind of thrown into the role of volleyball coach.
Well, that is wonderful. And in the notes that they gave me, they keep mentioning your talented children. So tell us a little bit about your children and what they're up to.
Our oldest is Trey. He's a senior at Tuskegee University. Out of high school, he signed with Richmond University, University of Richmond, in Richmond, Virginia. He played football a couple of years there. And then our middle son, Christian, is at Alabama. He's a redshirt sophomore at Alabama. And then the baby boy, Caden, is at Clemson. He's a freshman at Clemson. So we're all over the place. It's an exciting time. I'm so thankful that God blessed them with the talent, and so we didn't have to pay for school. So that's been a blessing for our family.
I'm sure it has been. Well, you know, with your background in social work and then now you're a coach and mainly as a mom, how do you think all of that has contributed and made you able to maybe relate to parents of your players?
I think it's been very instrumental, the background, of course, as a mom. And also, I serve as aqua mom for our football team. So I'm on the sidelines on Friday night, providing water and prayer and just somebody to talk to on the sidelines for the boys. But I think it has been very instrumental in me being able to reach the girls. That's the most important thing to me, more than winning championships or winning volleyball matches. It's important that I reach them because these are the girls that are the people that will have to take care of us in the next few years. So I want to make sure that I deposit some positive things into them so that some positive things will come out of them. And so I use that as my platform to be able to provide them with positive energy and what they may need or just things they need to talk about. I try and be there for them for that.
Well, Christina, we thank you so much for joining us today. It really sounds like you've got your ducks in a row and your priorities straight, from mothering to just mentoring those girls, and with your background, it's all come together in a beautiful way. But more than anything on this show, we want to wish you luck this week on your match in Montgomery on Thursday. We hope you do well in that, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for wishing us well, and thank you so much for having me today.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Alabama, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Like I said when we opened the show, temperatures are dropping around Alabama, but that only means that things are heating up for high school fall athletic teams. Let's check in on some of the hottest action from around the state last week in Holtzford's highlights. We open this week's AHSAA football highlights by checking in on one of the AHSAA's newest members, Tuscaloosa Academy, battling Sulligent in a key Class 2A Region 5 game in West Alabama. The Knights got a big night from their quarterback receiving combination of Preston Lancaster and Luke Kilgore. Lancaster passed for 253 yards and 3 touchdowns, all 3 to Kilgore, who closed out the night with 7 catches for 193 yards. Running back Sharabia Jones added 14 carries for 147 yards as Tuscaloosa Academy won a close one 23-20, improving to 6-2 on the season and clinching the number 2 seed for the upcoming Class 2A state playoffs in the process. We head east to Calhoun County, where we pick up another exciting battle in Class 5A Region 6 between Alexandria and Southside Gadsden. Antonio Ross of the Valley Cubs starts off in style, scoring the first of his 5 touchdowns on the night. Ross would finish with 291 yards rushing. Later in the second half, quarterback TK Downey finds Ty Barker open for this touchdown pass, giving Alexandria a 35-27 lead. Despite a strong comeback effort by the Panthers, the Cubs would win this one 54-47, scoring the final TD when Downey fakes the handoff and runs 62 yards for the clinching score. Alexandria improved to 4-4 on the season and 4-2 in region play. The Stanhope Elmore Mustangs have struggled at times this season, but in this Class 6A Region 2 game with powerful Pike Road, it all came together in a big way as the boys from Millbrook win 14-13. The Patriots in Class 6A for the first time this season after going undefeated last year to win the Class 5A state title saw Stanhope at its best. We also see the Mustangs cash in on a little trickery when Jacob Bryant throws a pass to Jackson Thomas, who then laterals it to Tevin Landrum on the hook and ladder play for an early touchdown and 7-0 lead. Later in the first half, Bryant fires another strike to Thomas, who races to the end zone for a 14-0 lead. Pike Road battled back in the second half, but the Mustangs defense held on for a 13-14 win to tighten the playoff race in Region 2, heading into this week's final round of region games. Auburn needed a win to move closer to the Class 7A Region 2 title. Central Phoenix City also needed a win to claim the same prize. When the dust settled, the Red Devils posted a 38-17 victory to take the upper hand moving into the last 2 weeks of the regular season. We check in with Central already leading 7-0 in the first half when Romeo Green takes the handoff and runs away from defenders for a 40-yard touchdown. Red Devils quarterback Jalen Epps follows up with this pass to Carmelo English in the end zone for another Central score, extending the lead to 21-0. Auburn gets on the board with a field goal, making it 21-3, but Central responds with a 50-yard run by Epps to extend the lead in the fourth period. Defensive back Q Billingsley then seals the Red Devils' win with a fourth quarter pick-six interception return. Heading to Jefferson County, we look in on Class 7A Region 3 game between Hewitt-Trussville and host Spain Park. The Huskies strike first in the first quarter with quarterback Peyton Floyd connecting with Brett Mosley, who makes a diving catch across the middle for the TD in the 7-0 lead. Floyd would finish with 216 yards passing and 3 passing touchdowns. He would also add 60 yards rushing and 2 scores on the ground. In the second quarter now, Hewitt hurries to the line and runs a quick pass play, and Floyd finds a wide-open Decarius Barnes, who completes the 60-yard catch for the score. Floyd adds 2 more rushing touchdowns in the first half as Hewitt built a 28-0 lead on the way to a 35-10 playoff clinching win. The Huskies improved to 6-3 on the year. Let's move on now to the AHSAA area volleyball tournaments, where more than 50 were live streamed over the NFHS network by member schools, a new NFHS network record for Alabama. We pick up St. Luke's Episcopal taking on Mobile Christian in Class 3A Area 1 championship match, with outside hitter Haley Patterson leading the way for the winning Wildcats with 13 kills and 5 digs in the finals, as St. Luke's advances to the South Super Regional as a #1 seed with a 3-0 win. The Leopards also advanced to the Super Regional, which gets underway for Class 3A Thursday morning at the Crampton Bowl Multiplex in Montgomery. Winfield takes on strong Carbon Hill in this Class 3A area tourney final and pulls out a 3-2 win. Thanks in big part to the play and leadership of seniors Tinsley Franks, Anna Lynn, and Ariana McCollum. And both teams clinched berths in the North Super Regional Class 3A tourney in Huntsville's Von Braun Center starting Thursday. In a rematch of last year's Class 3A Area Super Regional and State Tournament Championship matches, we check in on Montgomery Catholic versus Trinity Presbyterian. Both teams moved up to Class 4A Area 5 and met again in the finals. The Lady Knights, led by Lennon McAnally, won this battle 3-1 to advance to the South Super Regional at the Crampton Bowl Multiplex this week. Trinity also notched a place in the South Class 4A Super Regionals. We close out our volleyball highlights with Hoover taking on Vestavia Hills in this Class 7A Area 4 championship match last week. Hoover's Reagan James dominated on the net, finishing with 16 kills and 17 digs for the Bucks. Teammate Bella Gunster had 29 digs as Hoover won a tough 3-2 win over the Rebels, sending both teams to the Class 7A North Super Regional at the Von Braun Center in Huntsville Thursday morning. We wish all of our volleyball teams advancing to the Super Regionals good luck this week. We close out the highlights this week with big plays from last week's AHSAA TV Network WOTM TV Game of the Week, won by Sparkman over Huntsville at Milton Frank Stadium. We turn it over to our awesome broadcast team, Coach Rick Rose and TV legend Mickey Shaddix with all the calls.
Milton Frank Stadium in Huntsville tonight, site of a key Class 7A Region 4 matchup, and a 21-14 Sparkman lead at halftime turned into a second half runaway as Sparkman outscored Huntsville 34-0 in that second half to win going away 55-14. Big region win tonight for the Senators.
Yeah, it really was. And of course, the thing we talked about at the opening, the #1 scoring offense in all of 7A football. And boy, they showed why tonight. They scored about every way that you can. Got off to a great start and showed really a lot of speed and a lot of ability to throw the football over you, under you, and of course a lot of deep balls. Of course, you're going to see Rozier, the good receiver, gets them started. And there really was a lot of this all night long. But this time, Huntsville makes the big interception. It looked like that the Panthers were going to be in it all the way.
Yeah, here you see the great layout there by Jabbar making the catch. But this was a key turnover inside the 10-yard line. It was 2nd and goal, and this was a tight game at this point. And Sparkman came up with the fumble recovery, and then they, you know, their quarterback tonight, Josh Ward, just had an incredible game. 4 touchdown passes tonight. So many weapons at his disposal, Coach.
Well, I tell you what, you know, they've got a lot of speed on this team, really good receivers. I'm very impressed with them. A big offensive line, but Huntsville is going to hang tough, and this run right here is going to get them right back in the game. And I mean, at halftime, I mean, one of the things we said is what a great ball game this was. It was really a lot of fun to watch and to broadcast. It was really just anybody's ball game.
And then here was a good return by Jalen Chambers that set up Sparkman in very good field position. And here you see that dynamic passing attack. Rozier had 2 touchdown receptions tonight. And this young man had a fantastic game for Sparkman, number 33, Cameron Watkins.
Yeah, Watkins was the defensive story just in the backfield all night. And just really Huntsville's undoing is they could not stop the deep ball and they could not block that young man right there.
Here we see a big touchdown pass late in the first half. This actually made it 21-14. It was kind of anybody's game. Huntsville came out in the second half, got the third quarter kickoff, drove down. They could not convert on that 4th down play. Then it was pretty much all Sparkman the rest of the way.
Lightning strikes right here, and this game was never the same after this play. One of several deep balls right here, and really, I mean, Huntsville lost just about every deep contested ball the entire night. There you see the post route to Rozier over the middle, and the rest of the night, Sparkman is going to have their way.
And then an interesting note about this game, you and I talked about it during the broadcast. This young man, Sean Williams, with a pick 6 here. He wound up with 2 pick 6s in the second half. Very unusual.
I'm not sure that's ever. I'm sure it has, but I guarantee you, as you said, that's not going to happen one time in 10 years.
And then this is the second pick 6 by Sean Williams as Williams outraces everyone to the end zone, kind of how Sparkman did as a team tonight as they outrace the Huntsville Panthers and win going away 55-14. We're now joined by Sparkman head coach LaRon White. And Coach, I got to ask you, what did you tell your team at halftime? Because the first half, you had a 21-14 lead. It was just absolute dominance in the second half for your team.
Well, we told them, I told them, offensive-wise, I'm an old school, Coach Stallings, get a lead and kind of sit on it. But I told them, guys, we was going to keep on throwing the ball, keep on being explosive, and try to keep on just putting them in the bind and not just sit on it.
Coach, obviously a very impressive performance. I know you've got a tough one in Florence next week. Kind of maybe a tough question, but how far can this team go? I mean, very impressive tonight.
We got a good team. I told our guys I felt really bad about the last 2 games against James Clemens and Bob Jones because we're good enough to beat those guys. But what happened is they had two great quarterbacks who had 2 great games against us. And we got a good football team. And we've been working hard all week. We've been working hard all season. I'm proud of this team and everything. They just hung in there. We got to keep on hanging in there every week.
And that'll do it for this week's edition of AHSAA TV Weekly. Send David Holtzford your highlights, always practice good sportsmanship, and be sure to tune in to our Thursday night Game of the Week. This week we'll be at Pike Road for their game versus Carver Montgomery. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you right back here next week with more Alabama high school sports action.